Welcome to another episode of Plant-Based Yum. Today I'm going to be playing with some vegetable stock. So I need to go to work here in a little bit. And this is one of those things that I want to get going first thing in the morning so that by the afternoon it is well cooked and just yummy. And then I'll show you the next process later. But first it's just getting all these vegetables into this pot. So you don't have to peel anything. I just like to wash everything and then kind of cut it in big chunks. Cold has come to North Texas, which is fantastic. And by cold, we mean 68, which is for us is like, oh my God, get the sweater out. So yesterday, because that was our first day of it, I made roasted potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes. Sean made some lentil soup. It was a good cold season food day. So I'm thinking, okay, so if we're getting into soup season, it's good to have vegetable stock because we kind of blow through a lot of that. And it's pretty much what do you have in your refrigerator. So I have I put in a carrot. I put in some squash, this yellow squash. It's kind of on the way out, so I'm going to cut out, like that has a little booger on it. So I don't want to put that in there. Yeah, and you don't, like I said, you don't have to make it small. Just cut into big chunks and throw them all in there. For sure, you have to have onions, you have to have celery, and you have to have carrots. Garlic is good, and then anything else is just bonus. Because pretty much you're just getting all the goodness from all of these great vegetables. I'll take the peel off of that one. And this is wonderful because if you have a crock pot, you just throw it in there and then you leave it for the rest of the day. Ooh, I still have a poblano pepper. So I'm going to throw that in there. Bell peppers are great too, if you want to do that. But I'm going to go for this poblano because I have really been enjoying the taste of some poblano peppers in pretty much everything. So that's going in there. I have a little calabacita, so I'm going to throw that in there. Got some celery. So you know those little parts of the celery, this part right here? Throw that whole thing in there. You don't need to waste it, because sometimes you get to that part and you're like, nah, I don't know about that. Use it. It's good. Throw it just like that. And then I'm going to throw a couple more pieces in there. I'm going to get that middle part. Because there's something about celery in soup stock. You just got to have it. I'm going to keep those for later. That. Okay, I'm going to throw in some tomatoes. These are kind of on the way out, so, add in a couple of those. Got a little booger on that one. And the garlic. So got some garlic here. I'm going to put in a couple of, 3 cloves. So you don't have to chop it fine or anything like that. It's another one of those where you just get to smash it. Take the peel off. And then take that little end off and throw it in there. I love being able to just chop up stuff and not really having to care about how it looks or, how fine does it need to be. Sometimes that's nice. But for chicken stock, but for vegetable stock, I don't know, maybe is that like a Freudian slip? I'm jonesing for chicken stock. Not really. Vegetable stock is good. But that's a nice little segue for spices here. I will say if you like the flavor of chicken stock, but you don't want to have, the meat part of it, we're going to be using poultry seasoning, which pretty much is what's going to give the stock its flavor, the chicken stock its flavor. So I have just a nice organic poultry seasoning here, and what it is, it's sage, rosemary, marjoram. What else did I put in here? Like I can see this or something. Ah, yes, black pepper and a little wedge of nutmeg. But the main thing is that sage. Like if you smell sage, you're gonna go chicken. So I like to add a fair bit of that, pretty liberal. And thyme, as in TH, not as in TI. A bay leaf. I'm gonna do 2. And then I like to put in peppercorns. But I like to have the satisfaction of smashing the peppercorns. So I'm going to put in maybe like 10 peppercorns into a little Ziploc bag. And then I'm going to smash it. So when you smash it, it's not as fine as when you grind it. It's going to be, still kind of big chunks. I find that kind of gives it a little bit more flavor. I'm going to pour that all in there. And miso paste. So we get our little bit of salt in here with our miso paste. I'll put about that much. So I'd say that's probably at least a tablespoon. Now the thing here is once you're all done with your chicken, I did it again. Once you're all done with your stock here is you get to make all kinds of different soups with it. And that's where you can add in more spices. This is just kind of general beginning spices to get things going. And I have just like a big old gallon of water to make it easier to pour into here. All right, that looks good. So, gonna let this just simmer. I'm gonna put it on for like maybe 6 hours, let it go, and then I'll be back to show you the rest of our veggie stock. All right, see you later. Bye. Hey, so my house smells amazing. So it's about 6 hours later, it's in the afternoon here, and look at this beautiful, yum, pot of vegetable stock. It is looking good, all kinds of good veggies in here. And it just smells so good. This is really, really nice. So here's the thing. So I'm gonna be, the next thing that I do, like a lot of times people just use this as your stock. What I like to do is I want to go ahead and, my favorite, put it in a blender and blend it all up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Big old chunks of goodness. These veggies are just kind of falling apart here. And I'm gonna add in some of this broth. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but this blender, my grandma gave it to Sean and I when we first moved back here about 20 years ago. And that's why it has that patina on it, is because it is old. I'm thinking it was already old when we got it. So, again, it's a nice thing to remember. You get to have grandma every time we use that blender. All right, here we go. It doesn't take much to get this going, okay? So then what I do is I have a bowl, and it has a little spout on it, and I have a strainer. And so I'm just gonna strain this out. Yeah, and then I'm gonna let that just strain right through this, and then I'm just gonna continue to do that same thing. Pretty much through this whole pot of vegetable stock. Oh, and I was also going to tell you guys, is another yummy to add to here are mushrooms. If you want to have it to be a little bit more kind of a richer sort of a flavor, mushrooms are good. And if you want to have it a little bit more sweet, you can always add corn or peas. That could be, you can always add that to your mix as well. So as you're cooking it. And as always, once we're done with this, then this is just the base for whatever soup you're making, and you can always add those other things as well. But once you're doing that initial, this right here, making the stock, you can always add other kinds of things. But again, the main thing is onions, carrots, celery, garlic, and then your poultry seasoning or whichever spice you want, and then any other veggies you want. Sky's the limit. Okay, so, oops, I went over just a little bit too much on this one. So what I'm doing now is I am going to kind of move this slurry around so I can get the rest of this juice in there. And as you can see, it's kind of making this bit of a, kind of looks gross, but a bit of a slurry of all of these ground up veggies. I like to keep that stuff. A lot of people like to throw it away, but I like to keep it, and then I can add it to like a bean dip, or I can add it to marinara sauce to kind of thicken it up. I just don't want to throw this away because it's really good fiber. And then also it's just some more additional nutrients that you can add to this. Again, I like to make like a white bean dip. That's really good. Any kind of sauce that you might make. You could add this to like a masala. You'll have your big vegetables, your hunks of vegetables in there, but this can also be just to make it a nice little thickening. You could use this also. I could see this as using it for your macaroni and cheese. It's almost like baby food. Just a little wide mouth jar. All right, put that there. And then I'm just going to continue on this last little bit. Okay, I think I got all of the big hunks out. All right, so here's that last little bit. Cool. And then I'm going to pour this last little bit in here. See if hopefully it won't overflow. We'll see. Nope, made it. Awesome. That's a whole lot of good looking broth right there. So here is my nice jar of filling pretty much. It's for any kind of something that I want to thicken up, whether it's like that white beans or the spaghetti sauce or that macaroni and cheese potentially. Gosh, I'm just like thinking of all these different things that I could use with that. Then we get to do the fun part, which is filling up these jars. So we get to fill up the jars here. I'm going to start first before I start pouring. It's pretty full. I'm just going to use a ladle here. And I do have a few little bits of my veggie slurry because I kind of got a little greedy and I went a little bit too much and it kind of overflowed over the sides, but that's okay. A little bit extra is fine. Just a little more. There we go. And I leave just a little bit of space there at the top. And off to the side for now. I think I can lift this now. Beautiful. These will usually keep in the refrigerator for, 2 weeks or so. So what I do is, here they are. I got 3 out of these guys, 3 of these beautifuls. And I'm gonna leave them out until I hear the little lids pop, that satisfying I'm sealed sound. And then this last little bit, I'm gonna have right now. It smells so yummy. And broth is always nice to be drinking during the day. If you have a little hungry, then have a little bit of broth. It kind of helps your belly. It's nice and warm. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, I love good food. So I hope you love good food too, and I hope this helps you to make some good food. So thank you for joining me, and I hope this was helpful for you, and we'll see you next time. See ya. Thanks.